Now, Gaza is in the midst of a humanitarian catastrophe, with severe shortages of food and other essentials and hospitals barely functioning. Hunger and death is looming large over Gaza. Now, Israel's relentless offensive has continued over the besieged strip. The death toll in the Gaza Strip has now crossed the 26,600 mark. Now, that's almost over 1% of Gaza's entire population, and 70% of all those who have been killed are women and children. An estimated 56,000 Palestinians have been very badly wounded or maimed in this Israeli offensive. Now, Israel continues with its operations with more vigour. In the last 24 hours, at least about 165 Palestinians in the Gaza Strip have been killed in this campaign of bombings and ground offensive by Israel. Now, take a look at these images. These are in the aftermath of a recent strike at Rafah. A toddler was seen being pulled by people who were digging through the rubble with bare hands. An estimated 23 hospitals out of the 36 in the Gaza Strip are out of service. At least about 104 ambulances have been targeted and destroyed. According to UNICEF data, 1 million children have been affected, while 370 schools in the Gaza Strip have sustained serious damages. Hospitals, refugee camps, places of worship, everything has come under Israeli bombardment. Now, those health centers which are still standing are being overwhelmed with patients. The fighting is now centered around Al-Burej, Nusayrat and Khan Yunis. Hamas released a video on Saturday showing the Palestinians militant faction firing mortar shells at Israeli forces who are inside the Gaza Strip. Now, the current fighting in southern and central Gaza has triggered a fresh exodus of people. The Palestinians are now being pushed further south. In a population of nearly 2.3 million people, 1.9 million of them have been uprooted from their homes and have been displaced in this campaign of relentless bombings by the Israelis.
أطفال وشيوخ وناس صايمين هم قاعدين. أنا أقول لصاروخ نازل عليهم، نازل من غزة على خان يونس، هددوا خان يونس طلعوا على رفح. يوم رفح أمان، ما فيش أمان.
With no food on their plates, no place to call home, and no security of life and future, life is getting worse by the day for the Palestinians in Gaza. Additionally, Hamas has said that the Israeli army has been rounding up thousands of Palestinians and has been torturing them in this manner by stripping them. A few detainees say that they have been subjected to physical and psychological torture, starvation and continuous beatings and interrogation. The Israeli army earlier rejected allegations of torture. Listen to what a Palestinian who was rounded up in this manner had to say.
تعامل سيء. بالنسبة للتعامل التعامل سيء غلط، يعني يغلط سفالة ويغلط كلام ملوش لازم، يعني يغلط يعني يجي يمسكك من هذا زي الكلب الله يعزك كمامات بلابس كفات.
Israel claims its objective is to end Hamas and to bring back its hostages. But the question is, at what cost, and why is it that the Palestinian civilians are paying the price? Now, to give us more perspective on this, we're being joined by Dr. Mustafa Barghouti, who's a Secretary General and a co-founder of the Palestinian National Initiative. He's also been a member of the Palestinian Legislative Council since 2006 and is also a member of the Palestinian Central Council. Now, Mr. Barghouti, thank you very much indeed, sir, for joining us on this broadcast on WION. Let me actually begin by asking you this. You know, the situation at this point of time seems to be getting more dire, and this campaign by the Israeli offensive does not seem to be ending anytime soon. What is the situation at this moment on the ground in the Gaza Strip?
The situation, the situation is very drastic. The Israeli army continues its campaign of bombardment using airstrikes and artillery bombardment, which is using unguided bombs, which means that the devastation is tremendous, and it is mainly among civilian population. As you have mentioned, if we count the number of the people under the rubble, the total number of Palestinians killed up till today is 29,000 people, including no less than 11,500 children. And in addition to the 56,000 injured people, that makes about 3% or 3.5% of the population of Gaza. Had this happened in the United States of America, you would be talking about more than 11 million people killed or injured in less than 3 months. Israel has conducted 3 war crimes and is continuing them in parallel. The war crime of genocide, the war crime of collective punishment, and the war crime of ethnic cleansing. But their ultimate goal is what Nikki Haley, the Republican candidate for presidency in the United States, advocated yesterday, which is the total ethnic cleansing of all the population of Gaza into Egypt. Right. This is their real goal, and they are getting mad because the people are sticking to their homeland and refusing to leave.
Now, the Israelis claim that their objective is, in fact, to try and wipe out Hamas. Now, this offensive has gone on for well over 2.5 months. Do you think the Israelis have succeeded in actually targeting the top Hamas leadership?
Absolutely not. They've succeeded in nothing. All the goals they've established for this war have failed. The first goal was to eradicate Hamas. They failed. The second goal was to bring back their prisoners. They failed. The third goal was to impose their occupation in the different parts of the areas they entered. They also failed because the resistance continues everywhere. Their fourth goal is ethnic cleansing, which is the main goal, and they failed. So practically, they are taking revenge from the civilian population, from the children, from the mothers, from the fathers. Each of these people, the 29,000 people killed, they are not just numbers. These are human beings, fathers, mothers, children, brothers, sisters, people who have lost their lives only because of this terrible atrocity of Israel, and who are not guilty about anything.
No.
And add to that the fact what you've just described about torturing Palestinian prisoners. I want to add to your information a testimony we got today from people in Gaza City that some of the prisoners were taken aside and executed, field execution, in front of the other prisoners, 16 of them in one area in Sheikh Radwan neighborhood in the city of Gaza. So the army is behaving totally as worse than what the Nazis did, actually.
Right. Dr. Barghouti, thank you very much indeed for joining us from Ramallah and getting that perspective there.
Thank you so much.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.